Lanka, there are no tigers, which makes these leopards the largest on Earth, Sri Lanka's top predators, and incredibly, they don't take their prey up into trees, they feed on the ground. Of course, here is the island of Sri Lanka with the populations of leopards. I'm not entirely sure where Yala National Park is, but I mean, this is a relatively fairly decent sized island, but of course there's a lot of people. And now, here is one of the most beautiful cats in the world. It is the Snow Leopard. Snow leopards are amongst the largest of the big cats, but also they are probably the most elusive predator in the world, because they live in the Himalayan mountains, which are the highest mountains on Earth. When I say the highest, I mean they can be well over 1,000 metres above sea level, so way higher than any of Britain's highest mountains. And of course, in the Himalayas, on the highest peaks, the air is thin with little oxygen, and only the toughest can survive there. Of course, snow leopards are built to go pretty much anywhere in the mountains, and so they can go up or down vertical rock faces, and of course their greyish white fur provides them with camouflage, but they also hunt a wide range of prey like blue sheep, ibex or sambar or spotted deer, and even incredibly yaks, which are semi-tame members of the cow family. And of course, snow leopards are very, very difficult to find. In fact, some people could spend their entire lives in the Himalayas and never catch a glimpse of a snow leopard. Not even the yak herders who live in the Himalayas ever see snow leopards. Of course, snow leopards have actually become even more popular after His Dark Materials by Philip Pullman was brought onto TV, and of course Lord Asriel Black was the demon, Stalmaria was a snow leopard, and of course, like all cats, they're solitary with the exceptions of mothers and cubs, and of course how they hunt is quite often they will creep up on prey, usually above them or across a steep ledge, and then they will chase after it, and they can even run down rocky, uneven terrain, and then once they grab a hold of their prey, they finish it off with a bite to the neck. But unfortunately, like all members of the cat family, snow leopards are now classed as endangered. And there are many reasons for that. I mean there is their natural prey being depleted by hunters, which brings them to hunt livestock and brings them into conflict with herders. But of course, like all members of the cat family, they're hunted for their fur because it's so beautiful, but also so their bones and body parts can be used for traditional Chinese medicines. Of course, in places like China, wearing fur from a cat like a tiger or even a leopard is seen as a status symbol, which is absolutely stupid. But there is hope. I mean, snow leopards are being bred in captivity to increase their numbers, but also with conservationists working with local people to prevent human-wildlife conflict with them. I actually saw snow leopards in captivity around about just over 10 years ago when I first went to Twycross Zoo in 2012. Because at the cafe there, they've actually got the snow leopard enclosure right there with the cafe, and I saw my first snow leopards and was absolutely mind blown by them. So they are slowly increasing, but even so, you could spend your entire life out in the Himalayas and never catch a glimpse of a snow leopard. And here is the snow leopard range. Now, the next animal I'm going to show you, well, the next cat of Asia I'm going to show you, is one that not many people have heard of, but it's also probably the rarest and most threatened member of the cat family. It is the Asiatic Lion. Now, the Asiatic lion is a very different animal to its African cousin. I mean, for one thing, the thing that makes them so different is that Asiatic lions have a distinctive fold of skin down the underbelly, but also the males have smaller and darker manes, so you can actually see their ears, whereas you can't on African lions. But the main difference is how they organise their social lives. In India, Asiatic lion prides are made up of 10 to 12 females and their cubs. Mature males usually live alone or in loose bachelor groups of about 3 animals, and they will usually join a pride only briefly to mate or if there's a big kill on offer. But, like African lions, they do work together. A lot of what they feed on is sambar deer, antelope, wild boar, and even buffalo. So what they do is they creep up on their prey, which can usually through forests or through the forest or long grass, and then they will all charge forward and pick out any stragglers and target them. Of course, they're not built for lengthy chases, so they have to catch their prey quickly, and they will usually finish it by suffocating it with a bite to the throat or possibly even breaking the prey's neck. Believe it or not, the Asiatic lion once lived through northwest India, right through the Middle East and into Europe as far as Greece. In fact, these are said to be the lions of ancient Greece and the Bible, the same lions that Androcles and Daniel faced, but also they, as well as their Barbary lion cousins, were the lions that the Romans had set upon the Christians in the Colosseum, as well as they're also said to be the lions that the ancient Greeks based the Nemean lion that Hercules fought. And unfortunately, these are also the very last of this ancient race. Because up until the around the 1800s, through to the 1960s, Asiatic lions were hunted throughout their range to near extinction. In fact, they were hunted for trophies, but also because as they were seen as a threat to livestock and people, and even hunted for sport. And it's meant now that there's probably only about 345 individuals left in the wild, and their last stronghold is the Gaia Forest National Park in northwest India. But we have learned from our mistakes, only just, and we are working to protect these lions, because the ones in the Gaia Forest are essentially vital, and if a natural disaster like a forest fire or even an outbreak of a disease comes out, wipes those out, then they could be extinct in the wild. But they have recently been reintroduced to Iran or Iraq in the Middle East, which was where one place they were originally found. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I hope it is true, because and slowly we are slowly breeding populations in captivity, which has been a little bit of a problem because a lot of the captive Asiatic lions are victims of inbreeding, which caused a lot of genetic disorders. But slowly we are bringing these lions back from extinction. I first saw Asiatic lions at Chester Zoo when I was a young boy. When I was a teenager, my mum and I went there, and when we got to the Asiatic lions, because it was actually the first time I'd ever heard a lion roar. I mean, it hit me like a punch in the stomach. It went right through me, and of course the male lion was actually very, very close to the fence, and I'm not even joking, when he roared at me, I could actually smell his breath, and I'm just going to say it was whoo-wee. Yeah, these animals are slowly making a recovery. Of course, that is their current stronghold, but around here in Iran and Iraq, they have been reintroduced, but they are slowly spreading back to their historic range, so there is hope for these animals, fingers crossed. Of course, here is the difference between the three lions. In fact, there's the Asiatic lion, which is smaller, but also there's the African lion and the Barbary lion. Barbary lions are the largest and probably most legendary lions, but they have been extinct in the wild since the 1950s, and there are supposed to be the Barbary lions in captivity, but a lot of them are either victims of inbreeding or their genes have been mixed with other lions. So there might be hope of bringing the Barbary lion back, but the Asiatic lion is, of course, it's a lot smaller than the African and Barbary lions, but they are slowly making a comeback. And hopefully there is hope for these guys. This is the last big cat of Asia, but I mean, it's not a big cat. I mean, the Clouded Leopard is probably no bigger than a house cat. But don't let that fool you, because they have the largest canine teeth compared to skull size of any carnivore. It's basically like having a set of daggers in your mouth. And they are one of the hardest cats in the world to find and film. And of course, the name Clouded Leopard is actually quite interesting. In fact, the patterning that looks a lot like the clouds, people originally thought that's how they got their name. But actually, that's not how they got their name. It's because they live way up in the canopy, in the treetops. And they have incredibly well developed ankles. In fact, a Clouded Leopard can actually almost turn its back feet almost completely around to run up or down a vertical tree trunk like a squirrel. And what they feed on is birds as well as monkeys and even gibbons. And so they have to catch their prey quickly, or because if they miss, they don't get it right, their prey will either fly or swing away, but if they miscalculate, a fall could be fatal. So they tend to hunt at night or in low light, so that give them an advantage over catching their prey. And when I said about them being probably some of the hardest cats in the world to find, And you could spend weeks or